So organizations today are collecting more data about customers than ever before. And customers are finally expecting them to put it to good use. The age of leveraging customer data only to monitor purchasing behaviors or identify upsell opportunities is really coming to an end. We put so much time and effort into sending out post-call surveys and, hosting focus groups, things of that nature. But most of the answers organizations seek are actually buried inside customer data they already have. Believe it or not, one of the most common questions we get is, right, what is speech analytics? So at a very high level, organizations are still really struggling to understand, number one, what the technology can be leveraged for, and, number two, how to choose the right solution or vendor, and, number three, what are some of the best practices for incorporating all the speech analytics data into their current contact center processes. If you go and Google what is speech analytics right now, right? Once you scroll past all the vendor ads trying to get you to buy their solution and you get to the actual definitions, they're usually pretty technical in nature and they don't really relate the definition back to a real world example. So I like to give a very simple, concise definition of what speech analytics is, right? Without all the technical jargon. And that is that speech analytics makes recorded audio searchable, right? When you talk to Siri on your iPhone and you say, how's the weather, or, what time is it? It's literally taking, turning your voice into text, which is a universally searchable format, and it's searching the internet and returning a response, right? If you think about the traditional approach to reviewing recorded calls, right? It's very manual in nature and it's very time consuming. I know a lot of you out there are kind of cringing your teeth because you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And I'll give you an example. If you want to listen to a 10-minute phone call, you have to sit down, right? You have to grab your headphones, plug them into your laptop. You have to find the interaction inside the recording platform. You have to sit down and take 10 minutes out of your day to review that interaction. And, try your best to kind of take some notes to gain any type of insights that you can during that process. The benefit of speech analytics is that, it can take that same 10-minute call, scan it in a fraction of the time, and deliver, structured information about specific topics discussed during that call, right? This includes timestamps for each topic identified, right? Sentiment scores that take into account acoustic characteristics like your pitch, your tone, agitation. If a customer starts off in a really calm tone and then they start yelling, the system will take that into account and ultimately reduce the sentiment score. It also provides a full text transcript for further analysis. One analogy that I really like to use when I'm explaining speech analytics is actually like the invention of the metal detector. So if you think back historically, right, before we had metal detectors, your best bet for finding gold was basically kind of digging random holes until you find something valuable. And what the metal detector did was it offered people a more effective approach, right, to searching for precious metals. Now the metal detector is not going to dig the gold for you, right? It just tells you where to begin digging. It cuts down the time it takes for you to find the valuable places that you should be digging. And in a lot of ways, speech analytics really mirrors that concept in the contact center space. And what I mean by that is, instead of searching for, spending your time searching for random calls that may or may not have any real business value, it can pinpoint the interactions that are most valuable to your organization using call driver categories. Thinking back to the analogy of the metal detector, right? Even once it pinpoints the location, you still have to have other tools and resources to kind of mine that gold, i.e. a shovel. And then you have to take that gold and find somebody to sell it to, right? In order to get the money. And again, speech analytics is really no different in that aspect, right? Once you define your speech categories and you use sentiment scores and transcripts for additional analysis, right? You still have to go in and actually listen to the calls, the voice of the customer. Speech analytics was not invented to become, like a substitute for the voice of the customer. That's not what the purpose is. That's one thing we always reiterate here at Speech Analytics Group. Even after you implement the technology, right, and you start to get some preliminary insights, you still want to make sure that you're reviewing the calls as part of your full project lifecycle. You don't want to get in the habit of running reports and analyzing sentiment scores in the absence of listening to the actual voice of the customer. One of the reasons we were really eager to share this video is that we found that clients who have a kind of a more thorough foundational understanding of the concepts of speech analytics have a much more seamless implementation process, and of course, as a result, right, a much faster path to return on investment that everybody's kind of searching for. And that's really what we're all about here. Helping organizations implement speech analytics solutions to leverage the true power of the voice of the customer.